I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we are speaking to the one, the only, Skip Flanagan. He is the author of the thought-provoking book, Your Only Choice is to Become Rich. That's great advice. He combines his personal experiences and Christian faith to inspire and guide readers toward success, even when life gets challenging. The author has dealt with adversity in his life and now uses his life lessons to address societal issues and instill hope. We're delighted to have this model citizen, Skip Flanagan, join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers and creators like him by subscribing to our channel. Skip, I'm a big fan, so I'm glad to have you here today on Spotlight.
I'm a big fan of you, man. You are a throwback American, man. So, it's exciting, man, and it's a pleasure to be on with you today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate your time today as well. So this is a great book. It's a cool how-to guide on how to become rich. And tell us how you came up with the idea and why you think it's important for folks to pick up a copy.
Well, basically, from writing the book, I was actually an English teacher at one time, but I always wanted to write a book. Even when I was playing basketball in college, my dream was to be an author. I talk about destiny in my book, but while I was playing basketball, it was one of my neighbors said that he saw a kid that had wrote a book, so I just wanted to write a book. But as I went on, as I went through life, I saw that it was important to kind of record those moments in history through some written form. And I read Langston Hughes' book, and when I read Langston Hughes' book, it was like he could tell a story, but it felt like I was right in the room in that moment with him when I was reading that book. So I was fascinated by how he wrote books and fascinated by how Martin Luther King wrote books. So I just felt like being me and having dreams of being successful in sports and stuff like that, I knew it would come a day where some of the things that I did would become relevant, and I need to jot those things down. That's why I wrote that book.
Well, absolutely. And we're glad you did. And we were talking a little bit before we started about playing basketball. You're 5'9", and
Right.
still you succeeded in basketball.
Right,
You had to
right.
get around some giants. And
Right.
that's kind of the secret of life, I think, to be
Right.
quicker, faster, stronger, being able to jump higher than the tall guy around you, right?
Right, right. Actually, when I wrote the book and when I was thinking about writing the book, it was the first book that I thought about writing was called Just One Chance to Please Be Me. And what it talked about is how, with the American dream, I'm from the throwback generation where, we believed in the American dream, everything was possible. That's what they told you in high school. So, me thinking like that, I knew that as long as I did the things I was supposed to do, I was a Christian. My grandmother used to have the songs playing, I want to be at the meeting around the cross. We used to wake up every morning listening to Christian music, getting up, going outside, working in the garden, stuff like that. So, I always believed that, everything was possible. I used to write Philippians 4:19 on all my tennis shoes when I played basketball. All things are possible between you and God. So, everything that I thought about doing in life, I knew I could do. So I knew that if I just kept going and putting one foot in front of the other, one day I would be in a situation like this. And like I say, this is history for me because as a kid dreaming about being relevant one day where somebody would want to interview you. Back in the day, we used to have Barbara Walters, so if you got interviewed by Barbara Walters, that means you had made it. So
right.
My dream was to be on Barbara Walters, but she, unfortunately she died, so now I'm here with Logan Crawford. So,
there you go.
This is that
so
moment.
Her bad luck is my good fortune talking to you today.
So
that's awesome.
So this is that moment, I think, even though we're at this moment, we're at a different moment in American history right now. And I record that as well. But when we were growing up, it was like you had this dream, but you had to live that dream out positively. You had to believe in God. You had to be good to be on TV. You had to be good to be interviewed. But now people interview those people are the bad guys. So when I thought about when you reached out, it was like, man, we got the Ted Koppel, Logan Crawford, Ted Koppel. of today, because that's what the American dream is supposed to be about. It was supposed to be about when you do your part, somebody else was supposed to recognize you for doing your part. And then, those things just keep gravitating, and, this is that moment.
Exactly, exactly. Well, I appreciate all the kind words, and I appreciate being compared to Ted Koppel. I hope I have better hair than Ted. I don't know. He had kind of crazy hair. But seriously, your book is great. What is your best advice to people who are seeking to accumulate some wealth and to get rich? When you say it's your only choice is to become rich, why do you say that, and how do you do it, would you say?
I was actually on a podcast the other day, and I think the guy, he's a friend of mine. And he actually had a book that talked about rich, and a lot of people that think that they can just you can get rich in a book, and they're supposed to have a big audience, and everybody's supposed to follow them. But when I talk about rich, I talk about it in a dual way.
Mhm.
A richness of God and a richness in talent.
Right.
I think as a country, and it's important, we've gotten away from rewarding good people.
Yeah.
We've gotten a habit of, hey, as long as you get money, no matter how you get the money, we're going to acknowledge you for who you are. But I actually went through a situation, growing up hard, uh, I went through some challenges, and back in the neighborhood that I grew up, they were selling drugs.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I ended up selling drugs. And when I went to jail, it was like, I didn't want to be there. I was like, man, I can't let this be me.
Right.
And the judge actually said, Skip, if you come back here, I'm gonna give you a life sentence because there's no reason you're supposed to be here.
Right.
So I ended up, using probation as a plus versus a negative. So I changed my life. I started cutting grass, and I thought about it. I couldn't get an apartment. I couldn't vote. A lot of things I couldn't do. So I thought about it. I was like, I still have dreams in entertainment. So how can I finance those dreams? So basically, I said to myself, even though I can't get hired on the state or the government job, I could create a business. And entrepreneurs are usually rich. So, I don't have to beg somebody to help me finance my dream. I can actually create a business and become successful and become rich through my business legally.
Right. Exactly. All great advice. Becoming an entrepreneur, being rich in your faith, being rich in your ability and what you do, and looking at a person overall and not just the bottom line. There's value in people if
Right,
they do their job with all their heart and they're working, even if they don't have a lot of money.
right,
Let's talk a little bit about your work in the music industry. Tell the
right.
folks at home about that.
Well, music is something that I love. I mean, same thing like with writing books, entertainment. It was entertainment. When we were growing up, when we looked at TV, we all want to be athletes first.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to be the pro basketball player. And I tell everybody, everybody that has a son, first thing they're gonna do is hand them a football, hand them a basketball, and say, hey, he's gonna be a great basketball player. But in my book, I talk about destiny. I talk about how you have to have a job to get the job, but the job will finance the dream, and God will reward you with destiny. So with me, it was all about going through all the progressions in life. A lot of people are not talented. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are not worthy of a lot of stuff. And like with me with music, I had to manufacture that talent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wasn't the best instrument player. I wasn't the best singer, but I kept trying. I kept going until I got a hit. You know what I'm saying? And I kept, and then once I learned how to do music, I kept going. And it's just like with everything that I do. I do a lot of different things. It's just like with my business. A lot of times when I first started out, I used to pay people for their knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Versus me just letting somebody work. They'll look at me and like, why are you standing over me? Because I used to pay for that knowledge. If I see you working a nail gun, I want to learn how to do it. So what ends up happening is I learn everything. I mess up a lot of stuff, but I learn everything and I get better and better. And I'm not the best now at it, but I'm good enough. I'm better than most at it, but I'm going to get better and better and better. And one thing that I notice about a lot of people, they'll take the path of least resistance. A lot of people will listen to all the stereotypes and all the bad jargon of the past and turn off. And I asked a lot of people, I like, the world is messed up. Well, how is the world messed up? Have you even tried?
Exactly.
Are you finished? Are you finished yet? Have you completed something? So,
Right.
I'm not even done. I look at people, I always skip, man, nah, I'm not finished yet. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. That's why I can't complain about anything, because I'm not done.
Exactly.
Every day is another day. And it's just like I say, this is monumental for me. It might not be for you, but it is for me, because it's one of my dreams. It was one of my dreams. When I go to sleep at night, I have a book titled I Dream the Legend, where I talk about all that, where I talk about how, one day I'm going to be relevant enough to have somebody want to interview me and want to know my story and want me to tell my story. And it's a great story. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's a day-to-day story. It's an ongoing story. It's not one that's, consummated. It's one that's ongoing. So, I dream of that day, you know what I'm saying, where it's just really big, 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 where people really get to understand the things that I understand. A lot of people don't understand the things. A lot of people haven't experienced the things that I've experienced. So my truth is not their truth. I was privileged to go to an all-black college, an all-white college. So those things are relevant to people, because a lot of people have misconceptions of people and of America. So, I like to be able to tell both sides. I'm comfortable with telling both sides because of my success. I can hey man, I could care less what you saying. I'm just gonna tell the truth. So
exactly. We talk about America being divided more than ever, that race relations are at an all-time low. I personally don't believe that. I think it's all the media, and I think it's big tech looking to divide us. And I think the media plays us, you're either MSNBC or Fox, and this one's an enemy, that one's, it's all BS. I think people are actually getting together better than ever before. I don't think Barack Obama would have been president of the United States if there was that much hate going on. I don't think Kamala Harris would be vice president of the United States if there was that much hate going on. Just curious about your thoughts. Like you said, you transcend a lot of worlds. You went to an all-black college, you went to an all-white college. Tell me your thoughts on that, Skip.
I was at Oregon Tech, and that's a 90% white city, man. And it was funny because while I was there, I had a guy, he was supposed to be a vigilante or something, but I used to work at a gas station.
Yeah.
But man, he used to come up to me and talk to me every day, like we was best friends or something, man. So I was looking like, man, you're really not like that, man. Why don't you quit playing, man? You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of times, everything is based on the media, and that's another problem with America. America, it was once upon a time. That's why I go back to the Ted Koppel, John F. Kennedy's, and the throwback Americans. You know what I'm saying?
The people who are down the middle, the people who are fair, the people who are the real deal.
Just people like you had a dream. You had a dream once upon a time. You know what I'm saying? So we're all normal people, but when the media gets a hold of it, they make it out of something else, and the politicians make it out of something else, because everything is money driven.
Exactly.
It's just like a lot of the legislation. I have a chapter in my book called "Is the Conspiracy of Bad Legislation?" When America had to make a decision between drug dealers and cartel and keep on going the right way, they made the decision to get the money at the behold of the people. You understand? Same thing with a lot of things that they promote, through media. You'll hear them talking all this racial stuff, then you'll go in the neighborhood around the people there. How you doing, Skip? How you doing? And be like, well, why it's not like what they say? So a lot of it is played out in the media, but and I know, when you go out in the grocery store, we never even see that. So
exactly. What matters is what happens in real life, not what's happening online, not what's happening because some anchor who's looking to bait people against each other is telling it. Well, your book is terrific. The name of it is Your Only Choice is to Become Rich. It's written by Skip Flanagan. It's the story of his life. It's a story of his Christian faith. It's a story of how to become rich in more ways than just wealth. And those ways are just as important as accumulating wealth in this life. Skip, before we leave you here today, anything you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, I just want to say, hey, man, we're actually going through some hard times right now. And one thing about it, whoever you are, whatever you are, don't be afraid to say you have a job. You know, the job is what finances the dream, and keep that dream intact. You know, you may start off being a plumber, you may start off being a waiter, but always have that vision of that you in that suit. You looking like Logan Crawford with the blue tie, you know, with the expensive suit on, you know, in the same chair of Logan Crawford as a broadcaster. Whatever that dream is that you have of you, always try your best to do that, but know that you have to finance that through a job and through it being legal. You see, God can't use bad wood. You know, it's just like building a house. You can't go get the bad wood and put it with the good wood. You know, God cannot use nothing that the devil has. So if you decide to go with God, always know that everything that you obtain through the devil, you're going to have to leave it, because that way you obtain something, you have to retain that. So God always build with brand new wood. So when you make that decision to turn your life around, don't look back and keep going, and you'll get there.
Absolutely. Great advice throughout. Skip, thanks so much for joining me here today.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford.
My pleasure. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.